So, unlike my wonderful and charismatic friend Kirk, who claimed he was nervous, I actually get really nervous giving presentations. So please bear with any handshaking or shortness of breath or anything like that. So my name's Jennifer, and I'm here representing the Anchorage Food Mosaic. And we are not a nonprofit, and we're also not a governmental organization, but we're basically just a group of motivated and dedicated volunteers who came together and said, our food system is in disarray, and we care about it, and we think that there are lots of wonderful things to celebrate about it, so let's do something. So it was founded by Shannon Kuhn, who I saw in your tag. You work at the Park Foundation? Yeah. So Shannon's a coworker of his, a really great girl. And she said, there are so many different cultures in Anchorage, and listening to Kirk and hearing that Mountain View is, the most diverse neighborhood in the entire country, that's obviously true. So there are so many cultures and stories and traditions in this community, and what better way than to use food as our common denominator, because we all eat it, no matter if we grow it, plant it, cook it, buy it, transport it, whatever else we do, we all definitely eat it. And so what better way than to use culture to build community around food. So that's basically what we do in the Anchorage Food Mosaic. We're a group of 4 core volunteers, and we call ourselves the organizers and the contributors. And we started off as sort of like a food blog, and we just wanted to share people's stories about food, just purely celebrating who lives in this community and what their traditions are, how they like to engage with food, what their questions are, and to post recipes and pictures and written narrative about that. But that was hard to do. A lot of us write for a living already, and so it wasn't really working. And then we found that a lot of people in the community, including other nonprofits and businesses and such, wanted to plan events around food or have guest speakers or create educational material. And we slowly found ourselves falling into that role instead. So we've partnered with places like the Anchorage Community Land Trust and other Mountain View cultural groups to put on an international holiday feast, which is a potluck-style event where people bring food from their culture or something traditional and share it with everyone. We've partnered with the Alaska Botanical Gardens, AMTHC, First Alaskans Institute. We held a community dialogue discussion of sorts with them to talk about how food relates to race and justice and equality and such. So pretty much we are a local group of volunteers. We plan events and talk about food, anything from access and affordability to culture to subsistence practices to intro to gardening, environmental conditions, and whatnot. And our vision is a healthy food system for all Alaskans, and we feel like that is possible by bringing people together, having people share their stories, celebrating food, eating together, learning from each other, and all of that other wonderful gushy stuff. I just have a few graphics here. We do, for anyone that finds interest in working with us, we do have someone on our team that does graphic design, and this is some of her work. Food is our common denominator. So essentially, we're very open to other ideas, but our first idea was to create sort of like a Craigslist mixed with a Match.com source for people to connect with each other about food. So, and I do not speak developer language whatsoever, but what we see is some sort of application, or whether it's on a phone or a website, but there are categories that users can go into, such as equipment and materials and supplies, or food adventures, or educational opportunities, or skills in teaching and education, and people can go into those categories and find opportunities to connect with other people in the community around those topics. So say you have food processing equipment and you're willing to share it with people, or you have a lawn and you want someone else to garden it, or you want to garden someone else's lawn because you live in an apartment building and you don't have access. Or you want to go to events, or you have an event that needs volunteers and whatnot. We would have these different categories that users could go in to input their own data and then also extract data meaning that they would find a way to connect with someone in the community around food. So that's basically one idea. And then the other idea that I just had when we were sitting here talking about maps is that on our website, which is very much in progress, we've been inputting our favorite restaurants and our favorite cultural, ethnic grocery stores, chefs, and whatnot, and we really want to expand what's on our website to include just like a resource of all things food related, whether it's a nonprofit or a store or an event. And I think something like a map would be really awesome for that. If we had a map of Alaska or a map of Anchorage with different categories, and so someone looking for Asian markets could find that on the map. I think that all makes sense, hopefully. So, okay. So that's pretty much it. We're really excited and hope someone else loves food as much as we do and would like to do something interactive for the community. I mean, so our mission really is to not tell people other things, but to engage people. Like we put on things like photo contests, and we just had a food scavenger hunt where we had a bingo sheet. The graphic might be in here somewhere. We had a bingo sheet graphic, and we had stuff like go find a pork bun, or learn about fishing and hunting regulations, or simmer something slowly, or have a cup of coffee with a friend. And so we're just trying to show people that food is a part of your life in so many different ways, and that it's not something to celebrate and to connect with people about. So we really want to bring people in. So whatever we do with this hackathon project, we would love it to be like really celebratory, really user-friendly, something that people in the community would want to use. Not something challenging or just full of information that's crazy, but something really awesome and pretty and fun. So that's
like
it.
a photocracy for food.
Say that again?
I'm sort of imagining in my head like a photocracy for food, or couch surfing for food.
Yeah.
Okay. Making sure I was on the right page.
Yeah, connecting people to the ideas or people or resources or organizations or food adventures and fishing adventure that they're looking for.
Okay.
So you don't, mainly you're looking for something to engage people with, but you don't have any data to
Yeah, we
use
don't have
to start with.
data. We thought that the users would be, if I'm speaking development language right, the users would be the people inputting the data. So we would create like the structure or the framework, and then users would input data, and then other users could see that data and take what they wanted from it.
User-generated content?
Yeah.
Cool.
And it could be searchable by zip code, date, keyword.
One idea is to pull information in from like Yelp, places like that.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, not just take that and only use that, but to use it to augment what you get from the community.
Anything's active to our Yelp list, it's anything.
Oh, yeah, it's true. That's true.
Yeah.
How many really active members do you have?
Well, we have about 1,250 Facebook users. And that
So
has...
probably about 100 maybe?
Huh?
So probably about 100 maybe?
I don't really know because we have a listserv, and so we send articles out through that when we publish them on our site, but then we post a lot of stuff on our... So like I said, it was meant to be like a web-based initiative, and then it slowly turned into a more like partner with people in the community, plan events, show up, be in person. But we don't. But we want our website to continue to be developed. I think that Carter Bancroft is a part of.
How big is your mailing list?
Our mailing list?
Yes.
I don't know.
No idea?
I'm not the owner of it, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I have a quick one, sorry. In order to get some original content going, you and the other organizers, do you guys have an established test kitchen so you can start throwing up some fun stuff? Or if you were able to do that, have you guys entertained the idea of having a test kitchen where people that do have the ugliest kitchens in the world could go and actually contribute?
Well, in terms of stuff that we could initially input as the users, we have plenty of stuff. We have an enormous amount of community connections, and so we have lots of events and opportunities that we could put up, and we're all into different, like the farmers markets, different food-related adventures people go on for subsistence and gardening in the summer, nonprofit events, educational events. We have lots of stuff that we could put up as well, which is another thing that we're interested in. We wanted to have some sort of calendar, and so this is a way of integrating a calendar into something bigger that is more interactive.
Who is the owner of the mailing list?
Shannon.
One more real quick one. The people that have, not interface, but received your mailing list, if you've had any replies, would it be acceptable to actually email those people between now and the hackathon to see if we can get some content going?
Yeah.
This is just a project thought, but I thought about doing something, just with Anchorage Community Land Trust talked about doing, building an art walk application. You guys thought about doing a food walker maps-based thing, not exactly like Yelp per se, where you're just looking at restaurants, but where you're looking at sort of food-based resources in general in Anchorage that you can highlight everything from unusual specialty ethnic grocery stores to community gardens to that sort of thing. So you can just pull up your smartphone and say, here's where all this cool stuff is.
Yeah, we know people that have done that or are doing it for people with urban chickens, really amazing gardens, and also someone who's currently doing it for ethnic grocery stores. And so we also want to do those things, but we have a lot of people that we could get information from.
So tie them all together.
Yeah, so
or at least promote what.
Chickens are a great one if you have somebody who's got a larger backyard flock and it's effectively selling eggs out of their house or that sort of.
Maybe you can kind of Facebook community working with this since you already have a huge Facebook following.
And our Facebook is, we really wanted the website to be what people used a lot, but I think that there's just not enough for people to engage with on it. Like there's no real reason why they need to go to the website. I mean, we post all of our articles on our Facebook as well. So mainly on the Facebook page, we post recipes and pictures, and people love the questions that we post that they can interact with. Like, have you ever tried this kind of food, or what's your favorite holiday baking ingredient? And then all of a sudden there are all these responses of people wanting to interact and share their food story, which is exactly what we want.
So time that in, so instead of repping through Facebook, you could maybe store those on an API kind of thing, where
I knew what an API was.
They're basically taking the information that so you have an interface, is all it is, and taking that and throwing it into one thing. So it's taking all those recipes instead of like we're Facebook, like on a phone or something, going through your entire page to find one recipe, throwing it all into one local location instead. So like they comment on it, but it takes that information and throws it into the app.
Or a real sort of super low-hanging fruit opportunity would be to take the content that you currently have on your Facebook page and use that to drive the content on your website, or vice versa.
Yeah, I definitely want an app at some point, and you guys can totally pioneer this, where I know what everyone in my neighborhood's cooking, because sometimes I
Having the worst kitchen in the world.
Well, yeah, it was just like, because your next door neighbor's doing steak, right? But it could be, caribou. I don't know.
It would be cool if you could integrate something like that with, like if you had a food blog, a local food blog, like if there was somebody that reposted an article, if it could integrate that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, I have a friend that writes, it's called the Alaska Burger Blog, and so he goes and reviews burgers at all these restaurants.
I need to get that blog.
It's like AlaskaBurgerBlog.com.
You also had the idea, you guys have been talking mainly about locations and things like that, but if we're also talking about getting a real large amount of data real fast, if you can find one person, and I know I've got 3 of them on my Facebook already, that they post pictures of the food that they've eaten, and just say, look, I ate this here, I'm going to socialize this with all the friends that are going to hide this post as fast as possible. We don't want to know what you're eating, we don't want a picture. Maybe we want to get a status update saying, hey, this place has a delicious spaghetti or something like that. There aren't really sources online to have that. You can have you can go on Yelp or Evernote Food and you can search for good Italian. If you go to Evernote Food and you search for spaghetti, it'll say, here's how to make it, but it won't say, here's how to get it. Kind of. It might be able to lead into it, but it won't really be a crowdsourced solution. That's the term. So if you could get like one person to actually contribute, or a number of people on your listserv to contribute pictures of things that they've eaten, maybe an opinion, a comment about it, and the location that they ate it, or the ingredients that they used to cook it. You both have the places where that food comes from, the recipe, an opinion review about it, so you have a whole bunch of data that you could work with just from people that you already know.
It's like a forum.
Yeah, so like a group on Facebook, or maybe even a catchy hashtag. The latter, they wouldn't even need a user account, it just goes right in.
Yeah, Instagram plus hashtag. You post to Instagram, you have your hashtag, it's like food Mosaic or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you already have data available.
Yeah, you already have the location data, you have a picture of the food, a tiny description of what it is. Good to go.
Yeah, we've been asked we're a part of this group called the Alaska Food Writers Group, and we're asked by some of the people in that group to be the host of some sort of forum where the community can write back, but more so than just on Facebook. The Facebook has been really popular for us, but we're definitely looking to go elsewhere.
Is Rob Caneen involved?
Yeah, in a way he is, yes.
Oh, so I was just thinking that someone was talking, I think you were talking about test kitchen stuff for some of these ideas. That's where you get at least some of the content to start for videos, just to fulfill content for the time being until you start your own thing. So.
Yeah, we have good connections with him in some projects and planning with Rob right now.
Now that for longer, if he wants to use it, keep it with his stuff, but at least for an idea for some content to fill for the time being.
Well, I'm not a developer, obviously, but when I was with the Department of Commerce, we actually were looking at developing an app that did some of the things that you're talking about, but we were thinking that they were going to be, it was really using it made in Alaska, Alaska grown, and some of the other branding programs that the state has to push people, socialize around some of those issues. Where can I buy this, or I'm having an all Alaska grown dinner tonight at this place, I think that there will be. I think that the seasonality around food is what we found was the most challenging part of it, because there's a lot of things like if somebody's going and having a really great dip netting, and they need to clean thousands of fish before they go to work the next morning. What the real utility to something like that is, can I find somebody who will come and help me clean all this fish in return for some fish?
Yeah.
Or,
so maybe we could mix the original idea of like a match-up community connection thing even with a map as well. I don't know.